With the release of Battlefield 6 last year, it got me thinking. Was Battlefield always to mean one thing? Massive war? Tanks? Jets? Epic battles? Well, not always. Once upon a time, they decided to throw all that away and turn Battlefield into a crime drama. In 2015, Battlefield Hardline took one of the biggest shooter franchises in gaming and flipped it completely on its head. Instead of soldiers, you were a cop. Instead of war zones, you were chasing criminals. And players were split right down the middle with this decision. Some people said it was underrated. Others said it didn't even feel like Battlefield. So what actually happened? Why was Battlefield Hardline so divisive? The biggest issue with Hardline wasn't even the gameplay. It was the expectations. When people hear Battlefield, they expect scale. Massive maps, vehicles everywhere, full-on military chaos. But Hardline didn't deliver that. Instead, it gave players something much smaller and much more focused. Bank heists, police raids, urban shootouts, and right away that created friction. Because it didn't match what people thought they were getting. Hardline didn't feel like a bad game, but it felt like a different game wearing the Battlefield name. The scale was smaller, the pacing was tighter, and the focus shifted from all-out war to controlled encounters. For some players, this was actually refreshing. It felt different in a good way. But for others, it felt like Battlefield had lost its identity. And once a fan base starts feeling that, it's kind of hard to win them back. One thing that Hardline did that was genuinely unique was the campaign. It was structured like a typical shooter, but it was built like a TV show. Each mission played out like an episode. When you finished the missions and left the game, and then came back to restart, it came in with recaps of the previous episode. It had cliffhangers at the end of the episode, and a much bigger focus on characters. And honestly, that worked for a lot of people. It made the story feel personal. But again, it didn't feel like Battlefield. And that disconnect kept coming up over and over again. The timing that the game came out didn't help either. Hardline was released not long after Battlefield 4, and players were expecting something bigger, something more advanced. But instead, they got a game that felt smaller in scope and at full price. That did not sit right with a lot of people. To some players, it felt like a spin-off that was being sold like a main entry. But here's where things get interesting. Looking back now, years later, Battlefield Hardline might not have been a bad game at all. It was just different, and maybe ahead of its time in some ways. If the developers had decided to have launched it as a spin-off or under a different name, there's a good chance it would have been received very differently, maybe even with positivity. And that's why I wanted to go back and play it, to see if it actually holds up today, or if it was really flawed as people remember. If you want to experience the full game with me, I'm running a complete playthrough right here on the channel. No skipping, just the full experience. This is Rymple Gaming, where we revisit the games that defined an era. Alright, let's boot it up.